Welcome back to our metal journey. I'm Brad.
I'm Alona.
If you're new here, we like to do a deep dive into the lyrics, so make sure you stay till the end for that discussion.
If you would like to support us, check out our Patreon tiers. You can find the link in the description below.
We now have a Discord server that you can join. That link is in the description below and also our Twitter handle. So we are back to some Tool. This was a Patreon request by David Morey. And then Sean D, James Parker, Our Worlds at War, and Chris Carey, you guys get freebies because they also requested this song.
Great. I also requested two, but not specifically the song because I don't know the songs. But
so you'll remember last time we did the first song on the album.
So that's the second one, no?
Well, The Patient is the third song.
Why was keeping?
The second song is like a 1 minute little piece, which is called EON Blue Apocalypse. And so I've merged the two together into one file and we can just listen to the two in a row.
Okay, so it doesn't have any words in it?
No, it's sort of just like an interlude. So
Okay.
You haven't missed anything.
Great.
Okay,
Yes.
let's get into it. That's a change. That was the change.
A groan of tedium escapes me, startling the fearful. Is this a test? It has to be, otherwise I can't go on. Draining patience, drained vitality, this paranoid, paralyzed
feels like a good time to pause.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed it all so much. Let's just do it every day. It's just so familiar, and it feels like, I don't know, feels like home listening to a tool. I love how it changed from like very sort of calm sound at the beginning to this like really heavy and deep sound, and how they control the, I don't know, the loudness almost. So like it really like smoothly goes, like you know, lessens the sound, and then it's like waves basically. Like one wave of sound just catches you and then slowly goes down, and then another one, and then slowly goes down, and then the force of this wave at some point like breaks, and then it just retreats. Yeah, that's very enjoyable.
Okay, that's a cool description. I like it.
And I still may. I still may.
I love how they play with the rhythm, like increasing the pace to very fast and then retreating it again. And I think there was this part of the song where it almost stopped, and it was the sound, I think it was the bells or something, which sounded a little bit like time, you know, like the clock. And then the bells would be the clock ringing, and then after that it just increase and it got repetitive, I must keep reminding myself of this. And because it was like this almost like staccato thing, it also felt like the like counting the minutes, counting the hours, and the clock going. I think that was super cool.
And fitting with the overall theme here as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's a lot of repetitiveness like in music and in lyrics, which is obviously intentional. I think there's like very limited number of words used here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get into the lyrics, but obviously driving home that point of repetitiveness, tedium, etc., etc. So just so fitting with the lyrics.
Yeah. I feel like I want to jump into the lyrics
let's
right away.
Let's do it. There's some goodness to unpack here. So tell me what you got.
Well, I think it's really interesting how it travels like into the origin of the word patient. That it actually comes from this from patience, and it's not associated. You know, like I think in our in the modern times we associate like the downfalls of being a patient with, you know, with pain, with like some suffering. But here it emphasizes that the most like horrible thing about like, being sick for a long time is just this constant wait, constant routine that doesn't change and like keeps going and going and going. And it's basically the person has to make this choice to remain patient in order to get better. And I think it also emphasizes that you really have to have a good reason to go through all of this. So in this song, it's as a reward is basically the love of relatives, of family. So if there was no loving embrace to see me through, as it says, probably that would just be unbearable. So just keeping the goal in mind is the only thing that makes this whole routine that not actually in the whole routine, but just makes him choose it again and again and again to remain patient.
To continue the process.
Yeah. I don't know if it relates to some particular story in his life. It feels like it may, because I don't know, it just depicted so vividly this horrific feeling of nothing changing, and it's just being constantly drained by the waiting.
Feels very personal.
It does.
And it is. Spoiler alert.
Okay. I also like this comparison of illness with the paranoid, paralyzed vampire act. I think that's very vivid.
What do you get out of that vampire? What's the metaphor for this vampire here?
Well, the blood tests.
Yeah, either blood tests or perhaps being connected to machines as well. But yeah, giving blood.
Yeah, just constantly giving and giving and giving, and it was like unable to move also.
Very clever. I think it's such a cool way that he's done it there with that writing.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite sort of parts to the song, or metaphors. This comparison to a vampire taking blood.
But there's many like stuff like that. So even the second, the third line, is this a test? It has to be. And you know, like the test in the hospital.
Yeah, there's so many double meanings.
Yeah. And how it changes, like even the word patient, it's just used interchangeably here.
Very clever.
And I think it's also like the tedious path I've chosen here, I certainly would have walked away by now, and here it's walked away is, I think it also has like many meanings. It can be walked away from the treatment, but at the same time it also means walk away from life.
Mm-hmm.
Just basically giving up the fight. Yeah, but I do like how it emphasizes the choice, that it's not like something that is happening, but it has to be a person's choice to continue to go through that. So I mentioned it's some very like long and draining disease, and also without a certain hope for recovery. So yeah, so it is recovery is a possibility, and it brings big rewards, but it's not something certain, and probably there is a fight between whether it is worth it or not. Sometimes he's not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's not only giving blood, but keeping faith. Keeping faith when nothing is changing. I think it's also very hard. So tell me.
Okay.
Tell me.
I didn't want to interrupt you, and this is your reaction. So, now I'm not an expert on this, but I believe it's about his mom.
Okay.
I know she had some sort of medical issue. I think she may have been paralyzed, but I'm not sure, which is why when you brought out the walk part,
Mm-hmm.
another reason there. But if not paralysis, some sort of long-term illness.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see that singing about his mother, this isn't the first and only time this will come to be. So, previously we've had a whole lot of our friend Carl Jung being part of the subject matter. His mom's going to be a theme a number of times going forward, and not only in Tool, but in like A Perfect Circle, for example, the side band. Now, something I'm not sure about, and I wonder if it's actually just another double, is if he's talking about it from his perspective, he has to be patient, because it's really difficult for not only the person going through the treatment, but the family of that person. So I don't know if it's from his perspective, where he has to constantly be there, always going to the hospital, and it being out of his control, and just hoping and hoping and waiting and waiting and waiting for her to get better. Or if it's from her perspective, and I think when you were going through the story, you were telling it from the perspective of the person who's the actual patient, right? Mm-hmm. And so you touched on a lot of parts there where it could be from their perspective. Now, because there's so much double meaning in the song, maybe it's actually just clever enough that it can be both at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that specifically tells that it's from the perspective of a person. It's just, I sort of assumed that this is the case. I think the closest thing to being from perspective of someone is no loving embrace to see me through. But yeah, it can also be explained like a loving embrace of the person who is sick.
Yeah, I mean, parts of it are clearly so. Like, I'm still right here, giving blood, keeping faith. Mm-hmm. So that's the person who's giving blood. The patient. Mm-hmm. But then other parts, the more emotional parts, I think, essentially, it's kind of an interesting dynamic that both the patient and the family are going through the same thing separately from each other, even though they're going through it together as well. Mm-hmm. They're both going through their own ordeal. So I think the emotional commentary on it is probably applicable in both directions.
Yeah, I think because of this connection, it would be possible to write the song without experiencing it from like being a patient side, because it is very perceptive. So it's not even interesting. Like the first two lines, a groan of tedium escapes me, startling the fearful. Maybe the patients are actually like the fearful ones.
Oh, I was reading that the other way. I was thinking that the patient is the one who gives a groan of tedium, and then the fearful, being the family, are startled by what's the sound? Are they okay? But I guess it could be the other way around as well.
I was actually thinking that maybe it's, if it's something, if it's a not long disease, like the patients don't actually have time to get bored of it in the same way. They're still in the stage of being fearful about their life, but then when you can't constantly like be feared for your life, it just goes and goes and goes and goes on forever. So maybe just
acceptance,
a comparison like to other patients, that once you've gone through this fearful stage, like there's even the harder part.
When you're saying that, I was thinking of like war, where when people have been at war long enough, then they stop even like taking cover or like getting a fright with every explosion. I mean, I say this like I know, like the way it's depicted in the movies, for example. Eventually they're just accepting, like if it's my time, it's my time.
Yeah, because you can't just always live in the state of being scared.
Eventually it sort of becomes normal. I guess the walking away part, I don't know if she was in a coma at any point, but if she was, or if someone was, then I guess that could then be seen from the perspective of the family. If you come to see this person who's in a coma every day or every week or whatever the case may be, and you just every time you come hoping to see change, but they never wake up, there's never any sign of improvement, then I guess the temptation is to just give up hope and to stop coming back to see them. That the walking away then in that context is to just give up and not coming to see this person who's in a coma. And I suppose from your perspective, you feel like you're not achieving anything by being there. Nothing's serves no purpose. Someone may feel that way, I'm saying.
Yeah. But I would say that, like, I don't know, to me this emotion is quite strong, and it's also like helplessness here. And if it's like a relative of the patient, then they still have their own life, and they still have some kind of like diversity. While in this song it's more about not being able to act actually, and that is being like the act of strength, which I think is more relevant to the patient himself.
Yeah, that's true. The more we've discussed it, the more it does feel like it's from the patient's perspective. But again, I think, and probably intentionally, there is a little bit that you can see both ways, which is nice, given that there's so much double meaning in the song. Very, very clever, if it's intended, which I'm sure it is. It's Tool.
Yeah, everything is intended.
Okay, anything else?
No, I think we've discussed quite a lot.
Enjoyable? How does it compare
Always.
to other tools? Still just as good as the others?
Yeah, it's always interesting choice of the topic. So it's not just some regular stuff that everyone sings about, like relationship, broken heart, and stuff like that. It's always something very, very particular, and even down to earth, sometimes social, yeah, I think it's very, well, not political, but very society and like human related, almost science. And I do like it. Like, it's a social commentary on stuff that other people don't talk about.
Okay. So I guess we'll get ready for song number 4.
Yay!
Because this was 2 + 3.
Okay. I'm ready. Always ready.
Okay. Well, thanks, and we'll see you again soon. Hope you enjoyed that as much as we both did.
Thank you for watching.